I do not remember the light at all. I only recall the heavy, suffocating silence that suddenly exploded with someone else's raw, overwhelming fear and deep worry. That very first voice inside my small head was not mine. It was a cold, sharp, and biting question for which I simply had no answer to give just yet. My mother smiled down at me, but inside her mind was a deafening, constant scream of cold numbers, rising debts, and endless, soul-crushing exhaustion. Taking a single step was incredibly difficult for me. Not because of my physical weight, but because of the immense, heavy gravity of everyone's dark secrets. I knew the absolute truth long before they ever spoke a word. It made me feel like a weary old man when I was only 5 years old in this world. For the very first time in my life, I truly heard my own self. I was in a vast, empty, and silent field where no other human soul could ever reach. But the gray city called me back to its streets. It hummed like a broken, dusty transformer, vibrating with thousands of dirty, hidden, and dark desires. School was a constant, waking nightmare for me. I knew every single answer in the crowded room, but I could never find my own unique voice there. I locked myself away from the world outside. But these thin, cold walls cannot hold back the thoughts of others. They seep through every crack like poison. I slowly learned how to dive much deeper. I went down to the silent place where all the screaming voices turn into soft, calming white noise. And then, unexpectedly, I met her. Inside her head, there was absolutely nothing but a beautiful, ringing, and golden void. A state of perfect, holy silence. We sat together in that park for hours. I did not need to know any of her secrets. For once in my life, I just wanted to truly believe in someone. But fear is also a powerful, lingering voice. It whispered darkly to me. What if she is lying to you too? Look inside her mind. Take the truth now. I chose not to look and not to know. Love is the only secret worth keeping in a world where every other heart and mind is laid completely bare. She told me that everything was perfectly fine. But her tired eyes held a shadow I could not read. In that moment, I felt truly and deeply blind. An invisible, cold wall grew between us. My great gift became my ultimate curse. I simply forgot how to trust the quiet, simple moments of our life. So I finally decided to play by their cruel rules. If I can hear everything they think, then I will be the one who controls everyone and everything. One single whispered thought, placed carefully in the right mind, was more than enough to burn a person's entire life down to the very ground. They did not know why it was happening, but they felt the cold. I became a shadow that every person instinctively turned away from in the street. I surrounded myself with massive mountains of old, dusty paper. Dead words are so much better than the living, painful screams echoing inside my head. And then, quite suddenly, a new signal arrived. Not a human voice, not a word. A strange, flawless, and divine harmony I had never felt before. It was her, reaching out again. After all these long years. The phone was silent, but I could feel her mind calling out to me across the distance. Time had changed both of us, but her mind remained a perfect fortress. She was the last mystery in a world that had become entirely transparent to me. I told her absolutely everything. About the voices, the filth of minds, and how I see the world rotting away from the inside every single day. She looked at me and replied, "Your gift is a golden key. Help me find the one person who can finally change the fate of everything we know." Together, we walked through the heavy darkness. She led me to a secret place where logic is useless, and human thoughts have no physical weight at all. The old man did not think in words. He broadcasted eternity itself. A complex pattern that my human brain could not even begin to decode properly. I tried with all my might to grasp that ultimate truth, but it simply turned to dust. I was far too weak and tired to hold such a heavy thing. "I am not enough for this," I told her quietly. I was just a broken, old receiver, shattered by the weight of all the noise I had carried. The passing years turned into a faint, distant whisper. The voices grew quieter with my age, but the bitterness inside grew much deeper and darker. In the total darkness of my room, I only remembered her. The only human being who never left a single, painful footprint inside my tired, old head. As the light finally began to fade away, the voices at last left me alone. At last, the long-awaited, beautiful emptiness had finally arrived for me. In my very last moment of life, I saw the great pattern again. But this time, I did not try to grasp it or understand it. I just let it be. Thought by thought, I slowly began to disappear. My signal faded out, merging with the vast, infinite, and timeless static of the entire universe. Silence. Real, true silence. Not the kind found in empty fields, but the holy kind that existed long before the universe itself had even begun to form. We met again in a place where words do not exist. We are not our thoughts. We are only what remains after all the thinking finally stops forever. The world outside stayed exactly the same as it was. Noisy, dirty, and full of lies. But I am no longer a part of that world or its endless noise. Yet some people are still born who know how to listen to the deep quiet. And they smile at the setting sun with a peace that no one can take. She walks calmly through the city noise, and her mind is perfectly clear. She is the quiet beginning of a brand new, silent, and beautiful story. In the very end, only the light remains. And the silence. A total, absolute, and most beautiful silence that will last for all of eternity.